Ever wondered what secrets hide behind the walls of a mundane life? Here's what I found behind mine. The dull sheen of my apartment in the heart of the bustling city was like a beacon of solace, a place that held the murmurs of 1,000 faded stories within its peeling walls. It wasn't a place of comfort, but a refuge from the relentless beat of the city that never sleeps. The wallpaper, hurling at the edges like old letters, and the scent of time past hung heavily in the air, a testament to years gone unnoticed. One Sunday, as the city sighed under the weight of a summer sunset, I stood before the bathroom mirror, studying the reflection of a man too tired from his days at the precinct. As I adjusted the angle, a crack in the frame revealed a hidden slip of paper, yellowed with age. Pulling it out revealed an envelope marked with urgent, scrawled handwriting, "Rules of Passage." Intrigued and somewhat amused, I opened the envelope to find a list of cryptic instructions that seemed straight out of a pulp fiction novel. Do not look them in the eyes. Never speak unless spoken to. Carry nothing but what lies in your shadows. Take nothing but what is given freely. Ignore the cries for help. They are not what they seem. Eat nothing offered from unseen hands. Avoid the woman in the veil. Do not venture below the forgotten subway line. Never follow the children singing. Believe, you must face the midnight train. A laugh escaped me as I read. It had to be a joke, some elaborate ruse by a bored fellow officer, or perhaps a previous tenant with a penchant for theatrics. Compelled by the oddity of it all, I pocketed the list, deciding it would make for good banter at the precinct. Yet, as the days drew on, the list gnawed at me, an itch I couldn't quite scratch. The apartment seemed quieter, the shadows deeper, and the air thick with a palpable sense of waiting. Driven by a mix of unease and curiosity, I finally returned to the mirror, this time pulling it from the wall. To my disbelief, it swung open to reveal a dark, elongated tunnel. Cold air brushing against my face, inviting me into its depths. With only a flashlight to guide me, I stepped into the passage, the air turning colder, the silence deeper. My footsteps echoed, the only sound in the otherwise suffocating quiet. What felt like hours later, the tunnel opened onto an old subway platform, seemingly untouched by time, preserved in a state of perpetual 1940s decay. The platform was deserted except for faint, ghostly figures shuffling silently along, their features blurred as if erased by time. Remembering the first rule, I avoided their gazes, moving with a quiet caution bred from years of navigating darker corners of New York. A chill ran down my spine as I noticed a shadowy figure in a conductor's uniform, his face obscured under the brim of his hat. Presence commanding yet ominous. He paced the platform, his steps measured and silent, occasionally stopping to check his watch, as if waiting for a train that might never arrive. As I ventured deeper, exploring the eerie station, the environment seemed to warp subtly around me. Air grew colder, the whispers of the spectral passengers a haunting melody that tempted me to break the second rule and speak. I resisted, my focus fixed on finding any clue that might explain this surreal experience. After what felt like an eternity, I spotted a train approaching the platform. It was an old model, its carriages echoing a bygone era. The sight was so absorbing that I nearly missed the soft weeping sounds coming from behind me. Turning, I saw the veiled woman from the rules, her face hidden behind a delicate lace veil, her body shaking with sobs. Every instinct screamed to offer comfort, to ask what was wrong, but the rules flashed in my mind, anchoring my feet and sealing my lips. As the train pulled into the station, the atmosphere shifted, the air charged with a palpable tension. Spectral passengers began to board, their movements slow and deliberate, none acknowledging the train's arrival explicitly. Deciding it was time to leave, I turned back towards the tunnel, only to find it had disappeared, replaced by a solid wall. Panic surged as the realization hit. There was no easy escape from this phantom station. Driven by a desperate resolve, I approached the train, each step heavy with dread. As I reached the carriage, the door slid open with a silent invitation. Remembering the final rule, I hesitated, the warning clear in my mind: never board the train. I stepped back, the door closing with a soft hiss. The train lingered for a moment longer before it began to move, slipping silently into the darkness beyond the station. Left alone on the platform, the weight of my situation settled in. The rules had saved me, but now I was trapped, the way back sealed, and the only escape through a train I dared not board. The whispers of the station filled the air. Stories of those who had broken the rules, their fates sealed by curiosity, despair. Determined not to become another ghost of this forgotten station, I searched for another exit, my flashlight flickering as if on the verge of giving out. After what felt like hours, I found a service door hidden behind a row of old advertisements. It was locked, but desperation lent strength to my action. Using a discarded piece of metal, I managed to pry the door open, the rusted lock giving way with a loud snap. Beyond lay a series of maintenance tunnels, their walls lined with old pipes and wires. It was a labyrinth, but it was a chance. Following the tunnels, I eventually emerged into the night air. The city's sounds a distant echo to the station's silence. The world had continued while I wandered the depths, oblivious to my ordeal. As I walked back to my apartment, the list of rules burned a hole in my pocket. They had saved me, but at a cost. Station remained, a silent sentinel to the city's forgotten past, its rules a guide for those who might stumble upon its secret. Back in the safety of my home, I locked the door behind me, the night's adventures a surreal memory. But as I prepared for bed, a chill traced down my spine. A list of rules lay on my bedside table, a stark reminder of the night's reality. I knew then that my life had changed. The rules weren't just instructions, they were a warning. And as I turned off the light, the shadows seemed to whisper, beckoning me back to a place I now knew all too well. Sleep was elusive that night, the echoes of the station lingering in the quiet moments before dawn. And as I lay there listening to the city breathe, I realized that some doors, once opened, are not so easily closed.